Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, episode 91. Tonight, we're talking about acquisitions, rumors of acquisitions, a bunch of games coming to the Nintendo Switch, and we're getting a little cheesy with some Splatoon 3 fan theories. All that and more. Greetings, my fellow Nintendo pals. My name is Andros, and I'm one of the hosts of the Nintendo Pals podcast, where each and every week we talk about what we're playing, Nintendo news, rumors, and community-submitted questions and topics. And I'm joined, as I'm joined each and every week, by my fellow Nintendo pal, all-around awesome dude, Micah.
Yep.
And we are also joined tonight by super special guest joining us from the Nintendo Powercast, from the world of Splatoon, TikTok, and more. It's CheezyC64. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. That was really kind. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. That's really kind. We've tricked you into being here, and I can't believe it worked. So he's here. We're going to be now. We have like an actual expert to talk about Splatoon.
Oh, man, hold on. You know that's a lot of pressure there.
You've got all the like merch behind you. Like that's not mine.
I'm a fake fan.
Oh well, we appreciate you coming on either way. So yeah, for those that don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself? Where are you from? What you do, and more.
And more. Okay. Yeah, I'm Cheezy. You might see me on the internet as CheezyC64, CheezyC64. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I was a theater student. Studied acting and directing at Colorado Mesa University, and now I'm into content creation. So just kind of blending the two, I guess, genres together and giving myself some creativity.
Nice. And you do quite well at it. If you haven't checked out CheezyC64, definitely recommend his streams and video content. It's all great. It's all great stuff to watch. And we'll of course have links to everything Cheezy in the description of the podcast. So if you're listening to the audio version of this or the video version, just head on down to the description. You can find those links. And we have a packed show tonight. But Micah, before we do anything, I got to ask you, do you know what we're doing tonight?
Does it involve the world?
Oh, it involves the world. And we are going to try and take over the world. And we do that through 5-star reviews. And we got 2 new anonymous 5-star reviews this week. So nothing written to shout out, and they're anonymous. But if we could shout you out directly, we would. Thank you for the brand new anonymous review on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify. And we also got an updated review from our good pal Parbran, who I think is going to have, this is going to be like one of the best episodes for Parbran, because a game that Parbran has recommended we play in almost every review they have left was announced to be coming to Switch. I was like, no way. So stay tuned for our news segment. But before we jump into that, make sure you leave us a follow if you're out on Twitch, or a sub if you're over on YouTube. And a reminder that we are doing a giveaway right now. If you're listening to this, you probably don't have much time left to enter the giveaway, because that gets done at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on the 28th of May. This is May. That's what month we're in. And that is for a Nintendo Switch OLED. Micah, do you want to recap the giveaway real quick? What you got to do to enter? Putting you on the spot. Sorry.
I would love to do that. Well, you can you can be entered in two ways by subscribing on YouTube and retweeting the Nintendo Pals B-Day hashtag.
Or on any social media. Just using that hashtag, yeah.
Or be following us on Twitch and doing the same.
Yep. So all you have to do is either sub on YouTube, follow on Twitch, and use that hashtag Nintendo Pals B-Day. And you'll be entered in for a chance to win a Switch OLED. It's part of our 2-year birthday. We're entering our terrible twos, but you know, that's also a fun time, I think. Depends on the 2-year-old. That's I have a 2-year-old right now. It's just pretty great. It's pretty great. Micah, before we jump into what we've been playing, I gotta ask, how the heck are you? What's new? What's going on with you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Not too much new going on. Still waiting for that Metroid Prime 4 news. That has been over 1,200 days since we've heard anything.
But who's counting?
Yeah, there's Metroid Prime 4, there's Pikmin 4. There's probably another 4 that exists that, you know, is still locked away in the vault. So
that's true.
We got time to wait.
Yeah, we need I think Nintendo gets stuck at 4.
Yeah.
I can't think of a Nintendo thing that has a 4.
Yeah, they're 1, 2,
Mario
3,
Mario
4.
Party. Mario Party got to 4.
That's
and
true.
then never stopped. It just kept going. I guess they got to 10 and then they're like, we give up.
It's like
Is
a
there an
reboot
11
or something.
Yeah, I don't think there was an 11. Could you imagine? Like, we're in like the teens at this point. They're like, yeah, Mario Party 14. Like that was
It's like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. Final Fantasy.
Or the like, now this is what I call music 78. Like,
yeah.
They're still making those? Who has CDs?
That is true. That is true. Who does have those CDs? We also, I guess, we do our icebreaker. So I got to ask you, Cheezy, how the heck are you? How's life?
Life is good. I'm getting married in less than a month now. So,
oh wow,
congratulations!
Yeah,
coming up quick. Thank you. It should be a lot of fun. We have some like Nintendo music that's going to play as guests are arriving, but like very classically like sounding, you know, with a piano. So
that's cool.
If you know it, it will be fun. But if you don't, it just sounds like wedding music. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that, and we're both nerds, so the whole wedding is going to be a blast.
I was gonna ask. So your fiance is cool with that? I don't think my wife at the time, because she married into gaming. Maybe she didn't know what she was getting into, but at the time would have been okay with me slipping in any sort of Nintendo music. But
so we actually, as we're like walking away after we get married, walking away like down the aisle, we're Rick-rolling everyone with like a string quartet version of it. So yeah,
nice.
No, like we're all out.
This is great.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, big congratulations. It's a fun time. Yeah, and hopefully that goes smoothly for you. I know it was really
it's going to be a train wreck, but you know, we're ready for it. You know, there might be some fights that break out. We might decide to get divorced in that moment. And then, you know, it's a show. We both met in theaters, you know, so we got to make a show out of it.
It's a show.
As long as you have some nice memories, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we will hope for no divorce and just for a good old Rick roll. That's what we're hoping for. That's awesome. That's super cool. Well, what do you say we jump on over into the first segment of our show and let's talk what you playing? Cheezy, as our guest, I'll let you go first. What have you been playing lately, dude?
Lately, I've been playing a lot of Switch Sports, but I will
Oh, yeah.
clarify it's mainly been Switch Sports Soccer. Like that's all I've been playing.
Okay, so I listen to Nintendo Powercast fairly regularly, so I know you're up on you're pretty high in rank in soccer, right? Like, are you at top level rank?
Yeah, I think I'm A24 right now. It
Okay.
keeps slipping. It keeps going down to like A22, A24, but that mode is just so wacky in Nintendo, and I love it. And I wish that they had more wackiness to their sports in that game.
Yeah, it's so different than the other sports. And when I first played, I was like, I do not like this, but it has grown on me hardcore. I love it now. Like, I don't know. Like, when I first played, I was like, this is too slow. It felt slow. Um,
Right? Yeah.
but once you get the hang of the controls and figure out, like, there actually is quite a bit of strategy with like the passing back and forth and figuring out the best positions and gauging your stamina. It's a pretty deep little game of soccer inside Nintendo Switch Sports.
Yeah. I mean, did you play Rocket League before? Were you a fan of Rocket League?
Yes, I am. I don't play a ton anymore, but I probably put well over 200 hours, 300 hours into Rocket League.
Yeah.
Just because it's a great game.
Uh-huh.
Micah,
Yeah.
you're a big Rocket League fan. You're still playing Rocket League.
I still play fairly regularly with a friend Eli. He's a lot better than I am, so it's nice. Carries me a little bit.
Have you tried the Switch Soccer?
I have not, but having not played Switch Sports, the soccer actually seemed the most interesting to me because it seemed like it had the best like team play.
Yeah. And it's also the easiest to play while sitting down, which is maybe a reason that I like it. I know that Switch Sports is supposed to be active and standing up, but there are times where I don't know. I just I don't really feel like throwing a Joy-Con at my TV. So
fair enough.
That is like the only one that you can play sitting down, because I played that one on stream and I was like having to do this like soccer, like lean over my chair to get the swing. I actually played better that way than when I stood up. So I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, Switch Sports is super fun. Are you liking the unlockable costumes and all that jazz?
Honestly, I think that might be the only reason that I'm like still playing it pretty weekly. I think they nailed that part of it, because right now, I mean, there's not as many sports as I would like there to be. We know that more is coming soon, but all these different cosmetics do make a difference. It is really weird though that you are able to customize your character, but not really at the start. All of the like cosmetics are coming later, like even just like really simple things like a beard, glasses, eye color. It's that's an interesting choice, but I'm still playing.
Yeah, and I was listening to someone was talking about how you couldn't even get like a shaved head or bald. So it's like
yeah,
you have to have hair.
Like the easiest,
just a painful reminder.
The easiest hairstyle to add into the game.
Isn't it though? It's like why is that just not a default option? Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about the startup customization, but at the same time, I am a me solo. Like I have not used the Spoko Sportmates. Sportmates.
There you go. I like Sporties though. That's good.
The Sporties.
Yeah.
I use my me, and so I'm really all I can customize is the clothes that I'm wearing, which that's pretty limited. Honestly, there's not a ton of that, but you also get like the titles and the emotes. I find that a lot of fun. I just think the whole system overall is pretty fun.
I guess I didn't know that though. If you're playing as a me, you don't have the same like customization options.
Yeah, nothing on the face. Like you don't get to customize your hair or your or any of the. You can't wear the glasses or any of that kind of stuff, which sort of makes sense. But it just makes me wish that they had leaned towards the Mii's and then made that a thing. Like
you just gotta get with the times
around it. Yeah, I gotta get with the times. I gotta stop living in the past.
Yeah.
I hope that Mies don't go away. That's sort of our branding. Our logo has Mies on the front. Well, they're custom made, but
Well, we'll have to change to the sporties at some point.
oh no.
How
Oh
would you
gosh.
feel if I just changed mine suddenly one day?
To be a sport mate. First off, you don't know how to do that. And second off,
First off, I'm definitely
it
not
would be
going through that effort.
that would be ugly. I don't find the sport mates particularly appealing. I don't think they're bad looking, but I like Mies more personally.
They kind of have like a crossover look of Mies and Animal Crossing characters. I think that's maybe why people kind of gravitated towards them, because of how addicted we got to Animal Crossing. You know, that's all we saw for pretty much a year.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Well, they added in that squirrel costume character.
Oh, there you go.
Wait
That's
a
why.
second.
There it is.
Yeah. So I guess besides that, have you been playing anything else?
Splatoon 2. I've been streaming on TikTok, going live with that. And so just playing a ton of Splatoon. Nice. Go figure, right? But no, there's a ton of indie games that I'm wanting to play. And I just haven't had the time to get around to them. But I do want to check them out. Like Silt, I think, comes out this week or next week. That was shown off at the indie showcase. Death's Door, I've heard, is really good. Spelunky, that's one I missed out on, but I've heard also good things on that.
Oh man,
Andros loves that game.
We're the biggest Spelunky fans in the world.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. No, I don't know.
That's probably my favorite indie game of all time. I think I can confidently say Spelunky 2 is my favorite indie game of all time, because Spelunky 2 is just Spelunky 1, but better. It's like Splatoon 2 to Splatoon 1, honestly.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's like Dig. Well, now I'm a fake fan, so I'm going to have to think of what it is.
A Splatoon thing?
No, it's an indie game. And
SteamWorld?
It's SteamWorld Dig. Thank you. That's like the second one is so
games.
Much better.
Yeah. Yes. It's very similar in that it's like just slightly better than the first game, if that makes sense. It's not like a drastic. It's not.
It does kind of the same things, but it just improves everywhere.
Spelunky 2 is brutally hard, though. So there is that warning. We hyped it up so much, and a bunch of our community members bought it, and then a bunch of them were like, Andros, why did you give us this absolutely awful game that is so hard? Not awful, but they're just like, man, this is brutal. Like, a lot of people couldn't get past the first couple levels. It's a roguelike platformer. It's brutal.
There you go. Okay. I like a challenge.
Every once in a while, there's a little bit of jippery, and there's not much you can do. You just essentially die. But for the most part, it's
something
really fun.
Blows up off screen, a rock comes flying and just nails you. And you're like,
that's the best. Yeah, something, and then the rock will knock you into some spikes or something.
Yeah, it won't even be
fair, that's only
like,
happened to me like once.
I'm fine. I'm surviving,
and
you bounce a couple times and then happen to land just on something horrible.
Or
do you need to play the first one first?
No. There's not really much of a story. There's a lot to discover. There is lore, but
yeah, it's not very story based.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not like
said, there's just a little
you
bit
won't
of
know
lore
what's
you can
happening in the
figure
second
out.
one if you've done the first one. Nah.
Okay.
Highly recommended. I love that game. I think Micah and I both have over 100 hours into it. It's the first game that we got a review code for. Actually,
that's awesome.
As Nintendo pals. Yeah. So
it's
shout out to
greatest day of Andros's life.
Shout out to Derek, the developer of that game, for just being so kind and giving us a review code. Awesome. And I was really excited because I was getting it either way. So it was a good time. The reason I was so hyped for it is because I actually got the first one on Steam back in the day, on like a Steam sale, and I 100% it. I did every achievement. I was addicted.
Yeah.
They have an addicted achievement where it's like die 1,000 times in
It's like,
Spelunky.
you're playing way too much. Here's this achievement.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so we're big fan of indies over here. I've actually been playing, if unless you have something else you want to highlight you've been playing,
No.
Cheezy.
I mean, Spelunky sounds great. Sounds like a good challenge. I love Celeste and Hades. Those are probably
yeah.
like my top
Those
indie
among the
games.
top.
Yeah.
Hollow Knight is also up there. So,
Okay, yeah, you will love Spelunky then.
Cool.
I mean, Celeste, Hollow Knight, it's all up that alley.
All right.
I have been playing an indie game, another roguelike, but not quite as intense. Still pretty challenging. I have been playing a lot of Slay the Spire. That is what I've been playing this week. Surprise, surprise, everybody! I said this last week. I've just been like sucked in to playing Slay the Spire and trying to get that perfect deck build. So it's a card deck building game where you're going through different levels and you pick paths that you want to go down and hopefully you get the right cards to get the ideal build. Besides Slay the Spire, I've been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild, but not my normal Breath of the Wild shenanigans. I speed run Breath of the Wild and do challenge runs for that. No, my son has gotten very into Breath of the Wild this week.
Wow. As a 2-year-old, that's a intense game.
It's not my 2-year-old.
Okay.
My 5-year-old. But I mean, still pretty intense for 5-year-old. And that's why I'm playing a lot, is because he gets stuck a lot. And he's like, Dad, can you help me do this part? And then I get to a point and I'm like, all right, you can take over from here. So it's kind of like this couch co-op play. And he is currently going through the Divine Beast Va Naboris in the desert. That's the first one he went to.
The hardest one?
I was like, why are we doing the hardest one first?
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing. So I probably will end up fighting the boss for him. I'm helping him through the dungeon and solving the puzzles right now, and he's just loving it. What he really loves right now is cooking in Breath of the Wild. So he just goes and finds ingredients and goes to the cooking pot and tries mixing different things together, and then we'll read what it makes. And that game has some delicious looking food. It's so good looking. I'm like, man, I would love to be able to cook like this in real life.
Especially that fast. You throw it in.
I know. He
5 seconds
throws
later.
it all in.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You just throw it into the saute pot and boom, you've got a full 3-course dinner. Yeah, it's really fun. I love playing games with my kids and seeing them get into these bigger games. This is the first. I tried a while ago to show him Breath of the Wild, just kind of let him run around in it, and he didn't really get into it. I don't know what triggered this sudden watching and liking playing. I think he saw me playing it. He was he was asking me to teach him how to fly, because I use the BLSS glitch, which lets you just zoom across the way by like wiggling a bomb. It's pretty cool. I was like, no, I can't teach you this. It is way too hard for you for someone your age to do. But I can do it for you if you want to go somewhere fast. So we're having a good time with that.
So I don't have kids, but what is it like? Like, what is the limit, or how do you know when to have them play on their own, and then when you need to help them with something? Like, I'm sure you get them pretty far, but then you're like, okay, I want you to figure it out. But how do you know, like, what is that good way to like lead them into that?
That's a great question. I think it really depends on your gaming parenting philosophy and also your patience, because this is going to sound very call-outy. This is not meant to be a call-out. But our good friend Morgan, who was one of the co-hosts on Barely a Gaming podcast, we've had conversations with them. We're friends with them, and she's like, I can't watch my kids play games. It's just so frustrating to watch because they just don't know what to do. For me, I definitely try and let them do as much as they can do. Like, I want to do as little as possible because it's more fun for them that way if they make the discoveries and learn how to do stuff. But if they ask for help, then I'm there as a resource. I'm like, yeah, let me show you how to do it. And then most of the time I try and do, unless it's something that's like really complex, I'll try and do it. And then I'll go back and see like, okay, that's what you do. So you try now. And if they
Oh,
still can't get it,
nice.
then I'll help them through it. But a lot of these games, nowadays, Nintendo does a great job of easing new players in and helping kids get acquainted with regular gameplay mechanics. I think one of the best games on the platform is Mario Odyssey, and you can put it into assist mode, which gives you 6 lives. It puts a little arrow marker over your head to tell you which direction to go. And if you fall off the edge, you turn into a bubble and come back to where you fell off. So you can't die from falling off the edge. And that really unlocked the ability for my son to learn to play 3D games in a 3D space. Because I think when you're acclimated into gaming culture, it's easy to grasp twin stick controlling a camera with one thumb and moving with another. But that is really hard for non-gamers. I don't know if you
It's
ever
like so
showed
natural now, but
yeah.
since we're
I don't know
Yeah,
if
used
you've
to it.
ever shown a game to someone who is not a gamer, like Breath of the Wild, and you'll see that most of the time they won't even use the camera controls. Like they don't realize, oh, I should be moving the camera and the character, because it's just not intuitive unless you're a gamer.
yeah, it's really interesting to think about because I'm thinking about when I was a kid playing 2D games, playing Mario, Sonic. Nowadays, I don't even know how kids start their journey,
Yeah,
and there really aren't a lot of 2D games anymore. So that's just mainly 3D, probably open world. Um, it's crazy to think about how far we've come in gaming and how they're learning and like where they start with it.
Yeah, we
yeah.
kind of grew up while things were transitioning. And now we're just like, okay, here's this full 3D game. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, and like even I'd say like 10 years ago, kids were playing Minecraft. Like that was like some kids' first games. It's like
Hmm.
that's a pretty complex game.
It's like, yeah.
When you think about inventory management, crafting, completely open world, and
And
so if
now
that's
they've
where you're
all,
starting,
yeah,
you know,
they've all grown up to be architects now.
it's true.
Yeah.
What are we doing? This is our problem. We started with Mario and Sonic, and
Yeah.
what does that translate to? Not architects. Tell you that much.
We're still trying to reach the
Eating
flagpole.
tickets.
We don't know where it's at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's been my gaming experience with my kids. I love doing gaming with the kids. But it starts out with at the 2-year-old age, you give them the controller and you say that they are the computer on the screen. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna play Smash Bros with me. Here you go. You pick your character, and then you pick the character for them with the CPU. And that's how it starts, and then eventually, just ease in.
And then they
And
finally realize, wait a
I've
second,
been
I'm not controlling
indoctrinated into
this.
gaming. Yeah, I've been brainwashed. That's what my kids are going to be like. My kids are going to be rebellious teenagers. They're going to be like, Dad, I'm going to read. I'm not gonna play your games. I'm gonna go work out at the gym. Uh, yeah,
Their muscle shirts and protein powder.
yeah, yeah. That's gonna be my kid's rebellious phase. Oh, but that's me. That's what I've been playing this week. That's really all I've been playing. I also played some Nintendo Switch Sports, but I kind of already talked about that while Cheezy was sharing his. I'm really enjoying bowling. I wanted to play some tennis. I was craving tennis, and I like it a lot. I think it feels really good to play. The online still, to me, works really good, and yeah, I got no complaints about it. I think it's a great game. The level up's a little slow. I wish you leveled up faster, but
Yeah. Do
oh
you
well.
like tennis or badminton more?
I am better at badminton, but I like tennis more, I think. Badminton, I don't know what's happening. I don't quite understand the strategy.
You're like,
Because
why
with
am I
tennis,
so
it's
good at
all
this?
well. Tennis, it's all about the aiming where you're going to hit the ball and trying to get it to stay within the boundaries and also
Out of
far enough away
reach.
from the out of reach of the other players, or to a point where it will make it inconvenient for them so that you can get a good spike shot. Badminton just seems like a test of endurance. I don't think it's possible to hit it out of bounds in badminton. I've never seen it happen. And it just seems like it's more of like a try and I I just spike it every time. I just slap it down, and eventually the other player falls over and I score a point. I don't know what exactly. I feel like I need to dive more into badminton and really understand what's going on. Because like volleyball was that way for me at first, but it feels like this is all about timing and rhythm. And there's some strategies you can do in that, like moves that I didn't realize were there. Like in volleyball, when the person sets up the ball, you can actually jump before they set it, and it will do a quick spike instead of the standard. It goes up and you jump up to the net and spike it. No, it's almost like a pass to you, and you can get it before the other people have time to react and defend. It's tricky to do, but it's there, and it's yeah. So that I feel like that with badminton, like, and that's probably one of my weakest sports in the bunch because I just haven't spent enough time with it. What are your preference between the two, Cheezy?
I like I think I like badminton more for how fast paced it is. I love playing tennis in real life. I'm not very good, but I love playing it. Um, it does seem a little confusing with badminton. Like you're just trying to, I think, just like tire out your opponent, but you can't control your character, so you don't exactly know where you're going to be
Yeah,
going, and then all of a sudden you get too tired and you fall on your face, and that's embarrassing because I wouldn't do that in real life. That doesn't sound like
yeah. Who
me.
does that in real
Yeah,
life? Not me.
no, yeah. uh I don't I feel with all the Switch sports, I guess, kind of going back to it real quick, all of them involve a net, and it kind of gets a little repetitive because you have badminton, you have tennis, you have volleyball. Soccer does have a net. It's a little
Technically.
different, Yeah.
Yeah, I I could see that, but I feel like they're very different in what you're playing because tennis is all about aim, volleyball
Mhm.
is all about rhythm, and badminton's all about something. I don't
With
know what yet, but but it's all about something.
with tennis, I rarely use the person in front unless to like spike, because sometimes if you use the person in front, it just goes out of bounds. So I usually will let the person in the back hit the ball, and then if I have an opportunity to spike it, then I'll use the front.
Yeah, I find tennis to be a lot more fun playing two player. Like if you have two different people on your team and you're alternating between the two. But when you're playing online, it just doubles you instead of playing with another person. I kind of wish it was like volleyball and it paired you with a second person. Don't know why it doesn't. Or it let you play singles. That would be cool. But that's that. Micah, I know you didn't pick up Switch Sports, so
Yes. Haven't been playing that.
so you haven't been playing that. But what have you been playing, Micah?
Well, I played a little bit of a Kirby 64 on NSO.
Oh,
So I beat the first world is Pop Star, and I made it to Rock Star. So I do like the naming of their stars.
isn't
But
Planet Popstar where Kirby lives? Question mark. That's what I
I
thought.
don't actually know.
I thought that's
Pretty
the
sure
planet
that's
he was
right.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Does
So I guess,
does it still hold up? Is it a good N64
Yeah,
game?
I found out towards the end that you can uh take out your abilities and throw them at other characters to combine abilities. So there's, even though there aren't like a ton of abilities, there's a fair amount of combinations you can do just from like the 40 minutes I played. But yeah, I think it's a pretty solid Kirby game from what I've played.
Yeah, we have a question in the community corner about Kirby lore, so I hope you're well versed on that, Micah, because
Oh, I
I think
specifically
specifically,
didn't look up anything else because I felt like that would be cheating.
yeah, that would be cheating. So I'm excited for you to give it a go.
But then I actually ended up playing a little bit of Rival Turf as well. Nice little beat 'em up.
What is that? Is that the new NSO?
Yeah, it's in the NSO.
Oh, okay. I
I don't even remember which
I
one,
haven't
if it
even
was
heard of that.
SNES or NES.
That's SNES.
SNES. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's played Golden Axe.
I had
but it's
already
that kind of
forgotten.
style.
It's here
I
in
was
the
like,
notes
it's in our
to
notes.
talk about. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's here in our notes, and I'd already forgotten the title of it. That's about how memorable that one was for me. What'd you think? Is it a good beat 'em up?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I've made it to the 3rd level. After I lose all my continues, I don't know if I'll ever play it again. But I have enjoyed the 30 minutes I've put into it so far.
Nice. That's how a lot of these NSO games are. You're like, this is super fun.
Except Smash Tennis, which is potentially the greatest tennis game ever made. Besides, I
Oh,
think there's like Super Smash Tennis.
That's a bold claim, I'd say.
I
But it
mean,
is pretty fun.
I think it might be better than Switch Sports Tennis.
You've not even played
Whoa.
Switch Sports Tennis. Get out of here.
It's
What
just
do you-
that good.
But now I know no matter what, he's going to think that. So it doesn't matter how good Switch Sports Tennis is. Nice.
And,
So you just played a bunch of NSO apps, huh?
Yeah, and then I actually played like 5 games of Rocket League at some point
Nice.
this last week. I don't remember when it was, but
We're all in a sports mood, apparently. Rocket League's sort of a sport. We're all in soccer mode this week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't mention this because we're going to talk a little bit about the news, but I also dipped my toes into the first kick. What is it called?
Like the tutorial of Mario
Mario
Strikers.
Strikers. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty fun. I was just doing the tutorial, so I haven't got to play like any actual matches yet, but it seems like there's a lot of mechanics to it. It oozes Strikers style. Everybody's just really aggressive and like I don't know. It's like the cover art is always the angriest you'll ever see Mario, right? He's just like, I'm gonna get you with the soccer ball, and
Well, it's a strike ball, actually.
Yeah, strike ball. Yeah, this is not soccer. Everybody's using their hands a lot
Yeah.
in the game. It is so different than what Nintendo Switch Sports Soccer is. I know there was some people saying like, well, this is just going to no one's going to be playing Switch Sports Soccer after Strikers comes out. I'm like, nah, this is a totally different game. Very different. So that's my opinion, my hot take on that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things you can do in Mario Strikers. So many that I kept forgetting what buttons did what in the tutorial. So I think it'll have a pretty high skill cap.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited for the clubs and starting that Nintendo Pals club. Team 1 and Team 2. Well, Team Andros and Team Micah. So that's what we're going to do.
Good luck.
So I haven't tried the demo yet, but with the tutorial, do you not get to play like a computer versus match at the end?
I'm assuming you do.
You kind of do. I mean, they teach you some of the basics, and then you do like a 3-on-3, which I think it's 5-on-5. So you do like some 3-on-3, and your goal is to use these mechanics like usually 3 or 5 times, I think, depending on what it was. So I mean, you kind of can play a little bit, and they're really short matches though. But if you just ignore the goals of what you're supposed to do and just try and score, which I did a couple times, you can kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
it's
I don't
mostly
think it
just
lets you play like an actual match then.
Yeah, it's mostly just teaching you how to play, so you know what you're doing for the
It's a little
test
odd
play.
that there's not even like a practice mode or something like that you could mess around in before the launch. But I mean, this is sort of that, but it definitely is a tutorial. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But this actually segues really nice. So let's just jump into it. Let's talk in the next segment of our show here and go to the Nintendo news. So this is a little later down the line in our notes, but we'll just jump to it right now. So that Mario Strikers demo dropped yesterday? Was that today?
Today.
It was today. And there will be online play sessions happening, kind of test runs for playing online. And this is for Nintendo Switch Online members only. It will be June 3rd, 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific time, June 4th at 3 times. They've got 4 to 5 a.m. Pacific, 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, and 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific. And then on June 5th, 4 to 5 a.m. and 12 to 1 p.m. That's all in Pacific time. This is interesting that they're doing. I was not expecting this at all. This like dropped, and I was like, that's pretty cool that they're putting out essentially a demo where you can try out the game, try before you buy, with the tutorial, and they'll have these play sessions. I'll definitely be checking out the play sessions.
Did they have that for Aces and Super Rush? It seems like they had a tutorial for Aces, but I don't remember Super Rush.
I don't think Super Rush had anything. No early launch anything. Nintendo Switch Sports had a very similar thing to this. They had that test run where you could do it was like an hour.
Mostly? Or could you choose? They only had like a couple game modes, I think.
It was bowling, volleyball, and Chambara. Yeah, that was it. I think it was mostly to stress test their online infrastructure for it, see how it ran.
Yeah, which is kind of why I assume they're doing this with Mario Strikers, but it's only like 5 days before it comes out. Like,
yeah,
how much can they really fix if there's a problem?
Someone's working overtime. That's
yeah.
They're like, oh no, and they're just like working 24/7 for the last 5 days. Yeah, that I don't know. I think it's more of an opportunity to test play it and hopefully get hooked in. That's sort of what they did with ARMS. I remember they had test plays for ARMS, and it was more to gauge interest, I think, than anything else. You haven't tried out the demo yet, Cheezy, but are you planning on hopping on for any of these test runs?
Oh yeah, I'll check it out. I've talked a lot about Strikers and Battle League specifically. I am really hoping that it is good because right now it seems like the catch of it is the animation. I mean, it's next level games, so everybody looks great in that game.
Right.
The way that they move, their celebrations look awesome. So I have no problem with next level games making it. It just, I think people are hooked on nostalgia when it comes to like Strikers. I think they might be a little disappointed. Like, it will be fun. Don't get me wrong. It will be a lot of fun. But I don't think the people are going to like hold on to it as much as they want to, especially with, you know, how limited it is at the beginning, and they're still will be updating characters and gear, and I'm assuming courses. I mean, there's really only one, you know, field, I guess. Is it a field? Soccer field. Yeah.
Well, they've mentioned that as part of like the league, for your league's field, you can like customize your half. So I mean, I'm assuming they'll have at least a few options at the start, but it sounds like a lot of them you'll have to unlock. So it depends on how much you like unlocking things.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring this up, Cheezy, because in my experience today, which was like an hour in the tutorial, I didn't even finish it all, just because ran out of time. I felt like this doesn't feel like a Switch game. It felt like a Wii era game. It maybe looked a little fancier, but like looking at the menuing, there was no voice acting of any kind, like, which is not uncommon for Nintendo, but usually there's like a grunt or something the characters make, and there was nothing like that. It was very much like I don't know. The UI and everything felt a little bit dated. The animations though are gorgeous, and the game overall looks pretty good. So I'm hopeful that that's just like, okay, this is early stages looking at it, and once you get playing in the online play, it'll have more of a hook for
Yeah.
me.
Plus, I don't even know if it'll be like the same menuing as the actual game,
Mm-hmm.
because they're just taking just like a tutorial part of it. So seems like they'd kind of use at least similar menuing, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you get that vibe at all, Micah? It didn't feel like a next gen. It just felt more like Strikers again,
I mean,
which isn't bad.
I didn't really think about it much, to be honest.
Oh,
I was
okay.
more concerned about how it played, and
Yeah.
I kind of thought of it as like it's kind of some tutorial demo thing. I'm not sure if these menuing and things are final.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
That's a good point because Kirby was not the same when you played the demo and then when you played the when it released. You know, they left some stuff out for us to discover on our own, like that intro, the song that they have at the beginning. That wasn't in the demo, so there was a lot that they took out, and maybe they're doing the same thing with Strikers.
Yeah, but I do think that Cheezy is onto something here. That nostalgia is going to fuel a lot of purchases, and a lot of people will be disappointed. It has been the case with every Mario sports title so far on the Switch. Let's say it. Tennis, golf, everybody, like, not everybody, but there's like a huge audience that's like, this is not as good as XYZ game that came before it.
that's because those games weren't even that good in the first place, anyways. Unlike Mario Strikers,
Mario Golf, I loved. I actually really liked Super Rush and still play Super Rush pretty regularly. I log in and get the extra costume or whatnot. But I know that a lot of people that have played the one on 3DS and played the GameCube version and even the N64 version were disappointed with this one, which I guess because I didn't play those, I didn't have the nostalgia, and maybe that makes it a better experience for me. And so I think there's going to be that. I definitely think there's going to be that for Strikers. There's going to be a huge chunk of people that are going to be like, this is not nearly as good as it was on the GameCube, and blah, 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 blah.
Well, I think you're wrong. And people are going to be like, this is even better than it was on the GameCube.
All right. Well, I'm hoping you're right, actually, because that's a better scenario than what
Although, to be honest, I never actually played Mario Strikers on the GameCube. I'd only played the Wii one.
The biggest GameCube stan didn't play Mario Strikers on the GameCube? Excuse me?
True. So all I know is the apparently inferior Wii version. But from the little bit I played, I think this holds up.
Here's the thing, is Micah and I are never really disappointed. I can't think of a game that Nintendo's put out that Micah and I were like, that wasn't good. I can't think of one. Can you, Micah? Maybe I missed.
No, so none that I've.
We're easy to please. We're easy to please here at the Nintendo Pals. So I don't think it'll be a problem with us. I just think, like, in the sphere overall, I think there will definitely be that audience that doesn't feel like it's as good as it was.
I mean, the sports games have been better on Switch, but they still seem lacking. Like, they definitely have made improvements, but then they do these weird things where, like, you play the story mode and you can unlock this really cool racket or a golf club, but then you don't actually really unlock it. Like, you can't use it outside of the story mode. So it just seems kind of pointless to be like, hey, you won this. Now just give it back because you don't actually have it.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely have heard a lot of the complaints and agree. It would be cool if there were clubs in golf like there were in the previous game, but they're not there.
I fear with the gear in Strikers, people are just going to find what works and then everybody is going to use that same gear. Just kind of like how they do with Mario Kart.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope that's not the case.
From the team that I've played and they've mentioned, the really good players I don't think will care about technique as much, because technique affects how easy timing for getting really good passes and like quick pass shots with extra strength. So if you're really good, you don't really need as good of technique. I'm not quite sure how other attributes will feel, but I feel like a lot of the really good players at least will have really low technique scores and put more into other stats that like your skill can't quite account for as much, I guess.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. We have in chat here, Oso says, I think Mario Strikers will be really good. Based off the gameplay in the demo, I think it'll be fun. It's going to be a great multiplayer. So there is that. Like just playing it feels fun, but there are aspects of the menuing and the overall, like this doesn't really feel that much different for me. But that's not a bad thing because the original game is really good. So
I guess
do it again. That's fine.
Yeah, I guess like you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of people that are going to be playing this for the first time, because when was the last time we saw a Strikers game?
It was on the Wii, so that's two generations ago, and that would be it's at least 10 years, and then the GameCube prior to that, and that's the one that I think most people remember fondly is the GameCube one. So, yeah. Well, that's Mario Strikers. Go check out the demo. Yeah, you don't have to take our word for it. You can go try the tutorial right now and see what you think. Let's move on to our next news item here. Mikey, you want to take this one? We can just alternate back and forth.
Oh yeah, the Lord of the Rings Golem has been announced for Switch, but will be coming at a later date than the initial game launch.
I'm always a little bummed when that happens. When they're like, "Yeah, we're going to be on all platforms, but the Switch one's going to come later." That doesn't quite. I guess it's hard to port to Switch by comparison to to the other platforms, especially if you're designing for PlayStation or Xbox. Those seem to translate easier. But it's like, why are we waiting longer for the bad port? Do you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be
sometimes missing features and things.
Yeah, it's not going to be as. I prefer to buy all of my games on Switch. I don't have another console. I have the PC. I guess I could get on PC, but it just seems weird that they're like, we're saving the worst for last. This is the one that's going to be graphically not as good, and it's taking the longest for some reason. But that's neither here nor there. What do you think about the Lord of the Rings Gollum game? Either of you guys, Cheezy, Micah?
I remember hearing about it I feel like forever ago, and then I'd forgotten it was a thing until I saw this again. But it seems interesting. It seems like more stealthy.
I am a fake nerd. I've never seen the Lord of the Rings. I haven't read them. I haven't seen Hobbit.
Wait, you haven't seen the movies?
I haven't. Should I leave? Is this a good time to leave? Or
I think. Well, I mean, we want to have you here as a guest, but maybe your time would be better spent watching Lord of the Rings right now than being on this show.
Make sure you get the extended edition. It's only
6 hours,
11 hours total.
Oh my god!
I think the third movie is 4 hours and 20 minutes.
The extended cut. Yeah, but if you don't get the extended cut, you don't even see how the bad guy dies. That is like the weirdest. Why did they cut that? But yeah, whatever.
Well, yeah, no spoilers, I guess. I mean, but you gotta watch it.
I mean, what bad guy died? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna be honest. I am a fan of Lord of the Rings, at least the movies. My wife recently read through the books. We're playing a Lord of the Rings board game right now. We're playing through that. This game does not look interesting to me at all. I've never been like, you know who I want to play as? I want to play as Gollum. Like, I want to run around looking for rings. I guess
just
for all the Sonic fans out there, they're gonna love this game. Find some rings. It's just the weirdest character to build a game around. Like it's Gollum.
I mean, it's a unique Lord of the Rings game.
I guess there are so many other exciting things to to explore in that universe, and you're just gonna be sneaking around as Gollum in a stealth game. I don't know.
Wait, it's a stealth game?
I
It
believe
is.
so.
It's like a top down, like almost classic Metal Gear Solid is what it's being described as. I don't think they've shown gameplay or anything yet. It's bizarre. It's weird. I'm intrigued, but it doesn't. But not in like, oh, I want to play this. More like a, what is this going to be? Like, that's more where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, I may not have seen the movies, but I do know that his voice is not very stealthy. I think they're going to point that one out right away.
I want to know if they have Andy Serkis voicing him. Like that's what we need. That's what we really need to know. Because if not, I'm out. I'm out. Like,
I mean, it's mostly sound like you're already out at that point.
Yeah. I just need an excuse.
If he did voice Smeagol / Golem, would you be in?
That's another question. Is he doing the mocap for it as well? I mean, why not? That's his craft. Well, that's Lord of the Rings Gollum. We'll move on to the next news item. There's not really more to talk about that other than it is coming to Switch. The first officially licensed North American circuit for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Super Smash Bros. Melee is starting in June 2022. That's being hosted by Panda Global. But in an odd twist, it is not sponsored by Nintendo, but officially partnered with them. I don't know what that means exactly. Like, Nintendo is not sponsoring it. They're not providing any financial support, but they have approved the circuit for using the games.
Yeah,
anybody? Cheezy, are you familiar with the Smash scene at all? Like, probably, maybe more so than I am.
A little bit. I'm probably gonna make some more people mad, but I find Smash to be.
Wait a second.
I find Smash to be more of a party game than a fighting game. I do like to use items. Micah, you and I are going to be best friends by the end of this, I can tell.
I thought maybe I'd be able to overcome the Cheezy, but I don't know. I don't know if I can at this point. There's too many things.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Wait a second. We like playing with items.
Smash Bros. Is a great party game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It kind of feels like this was a Nintendo of Japan decision more than Nintendo of America. I feel like they would be more on board with, having online where, I think it was Reggie who just talked about this recently, that Japan is not interested in, they're interested in online gaming, but they still do not understand it. They still like the couch co-op of multiplayer.
Yep.
Which, I feel like couch co-op's kind of preferable, but it's hard when everyone has moved to different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the online gaming scene has just gotten so huge. This tournament is going to be massive. I think there's a huge prize pool, and I'm not sure here. We have in chat here. LPD says maybe they're trying to keep some distance to avoid any potential issues that might arise with competitors. Occasionally, some weird toxic stuff comes out of these sorts of events. And that's sneaking a peek a little bit back into the history with Evo and all that jazz. There's some bad stuff going on. And so if Nintendo comes in and officially sponsors something like this, then they can be held at fault for things going wrong. So I think they're more just giving approval, but pulling as much out as they can at the same time. Save face.
Nintendo really likes to have their name, squeaky clean. That's the same reason that we don't have voice chat. They don't want any kind of like vulgar language over their consoles, and it's a lot of little kids too. You have to think about that. But yeah, I would say with everything that's happened in the Smash community, it's a dicey position to put them in.
Yeah. But it is cool that it is still happening, and they are still giving a seal of approval to have the games used. This isn't like having to work kind of, all the tournaments previously were kind of like back alley, like, hey, don't tell Nintendo we're over here. But if you enter our contest, you could win some money. Like this is sanctioned at least, but it is weird. Next bit of news, Micah, go for it. This is Par Brand's. This is Par Brand's news tonight.
Yeah, them's Fighting Herds has been announced for Switch.
Yeah, which is like a Smash Bros. Like game that uses farm animals.
It's a little more, I would say, a little more Mortal Kombat.
A little more Mortal Kombat. Okay. Oh yeah.
But
wait,
with animals.
What? This is a real game?
This is a real game. It was. I apparently it's been out for a while on Steam and other platforms, and is now coming to Switch. And there's some hype in our community for it. That this was recommended to us to try, and we looked into it, and I was like, well, maybe. But now that's coming to Switch, Par Brand, we'll give it a look. All right, we'll do it. It's coming to the platform. It's a sign. Speaking of coming to the platform, we had brand new games drop on the NSO. We got Pinball for the NES, Congo's Caper, and as Micah teased in the What You Playing segment, Rival Turf for SNES. Congo's Caper and Rival Turf being on the SNES apps. I had not heard of any of these, but I've heard good things about Pinball. You said Rival Turf's pretty good, and I have also seen some rumblings that Congo's Caper's actually pretty fun too. So they're all like bottom of the barrel, like what is this? But they all are also good. So
none of them are nice. Quite Smash Tennis levels of good, I don't think, but they're acceptable.
Nice. You want to jump to the next?
Take-Two and Zynga merge and acquisition.
Yeah, this was interesting to me, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, so I thought we'd talk about it here. Take-Two is a huge. I don't even remember all the stuff that they have, but they own like a lot of big franchises.
Yes, mostly know they're involved in Borderlands.
Yeah, they also do. They do all the 2K games, don't they? Maybe
so. maybe
I'm making that up. Yeah, so they've worked with Rockstar. Yeah, 2K, Rockstar, and now Zynga. They own all these things, and they have a bunch of IP with all of those things. So Zynga is like the mobile development guru.
Yeah, super excited to see Farmville and Mafia Wars come to Switch.
Come to consoles. So. Yes, please.
Let's go.
Good
Farmville for Switch. Oh man, I think so. As much as like I've always given Zynga kind of grief, they make absolute buco bucks. So this was a huge deal, a huge acquisition here, and a move for Take-Two Interactive to kind of go stake a claim in the mobile market. That seems...
Grand Theft Auto 6. It's gonna be a mobile game.
Oh gosh. They're not going to make a Grand Theft Auto 6. They're just going to keep making 5. Zynga's going to work on the port to mobile.
Can be the new Skyrim.
It'll be the new Skyrim. Yeah. This, at the same time, I don't like it. I don't like the consolidation of the industry. I think it's not good for all these.
Indies are the future anyways.
Blobbing into a big, huge, owned by one person kind of blob. I mean, how long before what was the group that just bought Tomb Raider? I can't remember what their name was.
It's not Esper, but Embracer or something.
Embracer Group, yeah, that's what it is. How long before Embracer Group comes and takes Take-Two? from the shadows. Embracer Group will take everything soon. Soon, Embracer Group will be all of gaming, or Tencent. Like that seems to be the route things are going. I just don't like it. I joke, but I really don't think that it's good for the industry for all the consolidation. Cheezy, what are your thoughts? We're going to talk about it a bit more as well with the rumor mill, because there's even more consolidation happening behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
I agree with you. I don't really like it either. But from a consumption standpoint, it's kind of cool to see all these. Like, I'm not saying that I support it, but like, as we're the ones that are buying into all of these things and they're able to put their different IPs into these games or have them cross over, or like whatever it is that they want to do now, it's the same thing that we're going through with the MCU. I mean, that's all tied to one IP still, but we're seeing like multiverses, and we're seeing crossovers and stuff like that. So I don't like it, but I can understand how it's fun, which is probably not the right way to put that, but I don't know.
Yeah, no,
It's gross is what it is, but
I totally agree with you. Like it's like looking at it, you're like it's really interesting, and there is some cool stuff that comes out of it with a lot of collaboration and crossovers and cross platforms, and also more money means more products. Hopefully, but it also feels gross. Feels like Monopoly Man running around causing trouble.
Yeah. It's a little different when you look at like Nintendo acquiring next level games, because they mainly have just been working for Nintendo. They always kind of seemed like a Nintendo uh, developer.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems different, and like I'm more okay with that than having these.
Kind of just making it official.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but Nintendo seems to prefer working that way. I mean, they work with so many companies that are essentially first party Nintendo, but aren't. Like Monolith Soft is a big example. There's a bunch that they work with that aren't actually owned by Nintendo, but they make Nintendo first party stuff all the time.
Yeah, Koei Tecmo, I would say, is kind of going in that direction as well.
At Bandai Namco as
Yep.
well.
Yeah,
Seems to be doing
Bandai
that.
is big too. Yep.
Yeah, that's so I kind of prefer that way, honestly, because then everything stays independent, and there's not this like consolidation of everybody under one ginormous corporate monster. Because problems arise coming to that. I've worked for big corporations, and worked for small businesses, and there's just a lot of problems that come working in a huge corporation. There's a lot of benefits, but on the flip side, there's a lot of downsides with the organizational chain, issues getting things done quickly.
Things seem to become less efficient.
Yes,
the more people become involved.
And it's just a lot harder to get creative. You start to kind of once it's huge, it starts to become very much we got to remain uniform across the organization, and it's hard to maintain individualism within a giant organization. So I guess we have the indies to fall back on, these indie groups, and small developers, but it's just sad to see like the middle ground kind of all going away. You're either getting bought up by a huge group, or you are consolidating to be really small, just disappearing. That middle tier is leaving. And then the last bit of news here before we move into the rumor mill, where we'll talk more about this consolidation, because there's a lot of rumored stuff with that. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl sound library will shut down at the end of May. So you got just a few days,
2 days
to check out the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl sound library, which is still up for download, and you can I have downloaded the entire CD for for those things. They come in like 2 CDs, but they're just 2 folders with the soundtrack pieces in them. I don't know why they're doing this. Why shut down? It's only been up for a couple months. And I thought like I was really excited. I was like, this is the future. We're finally getting there. Nintendo's going to have their soundtracks up for people to listen to, and you can go out and download it, and it'll be like a legit way to listen to the music of the games without having to play the game. You know, you can put it on your phone or put it on your Walkman or whatever you're listening to music on. Yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling, and I was really hoping we were going to see more soundtracks come, not lose the one that they did. That's just where I'm at with it.
Maybe they just making space for a different one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, probably not.
Maybe Pokemon got shut down by Nintendo. They filed a copyright claim. That'd be terrible. Well, that is it for the news, and let's move on to the next segment here, and let's see what's cooking in the rumor mill. And in the rumor mill, Cheezy, we didn't explain this to you, but we actually have our own Pikmin that we send out. We send them on missions. They bring back juicy rumor fruit, and we dissect it here. And the rumor mill Pikmin have brought us some fantastic stuff this week.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yes, they are much cherished. Yeah,
families of the fallen Pikmin don't love it quite as much. But
what Pikmin have fallen? What Pikmin have fallen looking for rumors?
Pikmin always fall on missions. You can't protect them all.
Oh, okay. This first one here is that EA was almost bought out by NBC Universal. This was reported on. I saw this originally from Jeff Keighley, who said he had heard this from multiple sources that EA was in the works to be purchased by NBC Universal, and the deal sort of all fell apart last month. But that means EA is looking to be bought. And that Universal and NBC is looking to buy in the gaming space. Very weird, very interesting. Cheezy, you were talking about this in the pre-show. Like, what were your thoughts? Like, what did you think seeing this?
It's just a huge bummer. You know, we won't be seeing any Madden stars at Universal. You know, their theme parks. I don't know. I thought when I heard it, it's such a weird rumor because like why would they want to buy EA other than, you know, EA is basically just for gambling. I mean, they make a lot of money that way, but I can't think of like what properties they would want to either turn into like a movie or a show to put into their theme parks, or like what games do they want to keep growing?
Right. It's like, I mean, NBC Universal is so huge, like just absolutely massive. And it's like, hey, we want to buy EA. And listen, if EA is going to get bought up, I just hope it gets bought by someone who will actually put EA games on the Switch. Like, let's hope for that, because like they put anything on the Switch. Come on, where's Sims? Where is the Sims?
Now I'm thinking about Sims at Universal, and they're just like speaking to you in Simlish. You're like, I don't know. Do you need something? Or it's kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Oh yeah, I just thought this was like so bizarre, and very out of left field. If this had been announced, I would have been like, what is even happening anymore? I don't know. And in the same vein, Warner Bros. And Discovery merged recently and are potentially looking to sell Warner Bros. Games to reduce debt that Warner Bros. Has. And here are some of the reportedly interested parties. You ready for this? EA. They're like, someone's about to buy us, but we'll buy you first. Take-Two. Again, we were just talking about that. Tencent, NetEase, PUBG, Corp, and obviously Sony and Microsoft are all reportedly interested in looking at scooping up WB Games studios. I don't really want any of these people to have these things. I was like, you know what? If you just, I guess they're trying to sell it because they want to make money back on it. But I'm like, man, I wish Warner Bros. Games would just break off and become its own thing, you know? But
Yeah,
who knows?
the Suicide Squad, that got pushed back to 2023. Is that right?
Suicide Squad game?
The game, yeah.
I was like, to be honest, I hadn't even heard about this.
I'm not sure. I haven't followed Suicide Squad.
I was just wondering if that's, part of the reason as to why it got pushed back. If, they knew that this was coming.
We have no money to make this.
Yeah.
Didn't Warner Bros. Have something to do with Scribblenauts?
I think they've had at least some like crossover thing.
Yeah, I know like Batman can show up in Scribblenauts, so that would make sense.
Yeah, I think they bought Scribblenauts, and Warner Bros. Games bought that studio, but then that studio got shut down. I don't even remember the name of the studio. I'm like I'm like reading about it while while talking about it on the cast. They published it. Okay, that's the deal. So Warner Bros. Published Scribblenauts Showdown, and I'm assuming other games. I was like, I feel like I've seen them on
Scribblenauts Unlimited as well.
And I don't know. And they also, I guess, work with the rights for the Harry Potter games, and there's a lot of good IP there. I am very surprised that they are trying to pare this down. But we saw the same thing happen a number of years ago at Disney. Disney got rid of their in-house game development studios with Disney Interactive and all of the partnership there, and then just started licensing out to other companies. So maybe that's what Warner Bros. Is trying to do here. They're like, we'll sell off Warner Bros. Games and just sort of partner with someone else who owns them, so that we don't have to assess the risk and take that. We just somebody else's problem. So here you go, Embracer Group coming. Here's another golden opportunity. Get some cheap IPs. We need to form our own Embracer Group. The like the pals group, and we just buy up studios that we
have to be real small studios.
How you feel about $100 for Warner Bros. Games?
You have $100?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait a second. I might be going a little too high.
Wow. I need to work where you're working.
Fish around in Micah's couch. Might be able to find something. Got a couple quarters.
Speaking of like WB Games and whatnot, I just gotta say, like the Shaggy Ultra Instinct thing they apparently have in Multiverses is like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. When they had that trailer, I very much enjoyed that, although it is super out of character.
LPD in chat is coming in with the hard facts here, helping me out on the research end. Says that the Lego games are all done by Warner Bros.
Oh yeah,
and that's through Traveler's Tales and Fifth Cell. That's the group I was thinking of for Scribblenauts. And yeah, Monkey Thunder says that we can offer about $3.50 for
the three of us. Games. I think we all have $1. We just need to figure out who's putting in the 50 cents.
Yeah, someone in chat got 50 cents. Spot us. I don't. Again, we've already talked about this, but I really don't like all this churn that is happening. It's freaking me out. It makes me feel like, is the industry okay? Is everything okay? Why is everybody selling out? And why is Xbox spending so much money? Like, what is happening? It's just weird. It feels like we're in this phase And I've seen this because my family has worked in the retail industry most of my life. They were in like retail management type stuff. And you saw this thing happen when Walmart and Amazon got big. Like they bought tons and tons of stuff and they put out their services, their goods extra cheap, like super cheap, and continue to do that to some extent, but then just closed everything else out of business. Like a lot of the small that middle ground store, I mean Kmart gone, Albertsons. I don't know if that's even still a thing. Like there's a bunch of these like smaller mid tier stores that disappeared, and then they're the dominant force, and so you pay the Walmart price or you don't get what you need. There's still options, but it's just like so. I am fearful that is what is exactly happening here, and that Microsoft and Sony are playing Amazon, Walmart, but then apparently Embracer Group's even bigger than those guys. Like it just feels like it's going to kill the middle market, that middle tier. And they're going to come in like what Game Pass is doing. They're offering too good of a deal. It's too good of a deal. There's no way it's sustainable. There's no way. The price on that is just going to climb. It has to. I can't fathom how they will make their money back otherwise.
I mean, I think that's probably how most, like, not that Microsoft is a startup, but like Game Pass, the idea, right? They probably just have investors who are throwing money and helping support it. Because I mean, look at Netflix right now. They are in so much debt, but they have to raise their prices like every 6 months.
Yep. And they're huge as well. Like it's wild. And Amazon is the same way. It was like only recently they started making any sort of profit, and it's so weird. Like the whole situation is like, yeah, we're still spending lots of money that we don't have, but we're making money too. See, so I don't want to see this happen to the games industry. I don't. I just think it's not good. But like in the store space, you have the mom and pop shops start to pop up. The indie scene in the grocery and retail space, these local businesses that garner huge followings that help. Like that's sort of what you see with the indie scene in the gaming space. So it's just a little bit too similar, and I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable, guys.
There's a joke on like Parks and Rec, and it's like later in the future, and they're like, "Yeah, come on down, get your burrito at the Verizon Exxon Mobil Chipotle." That's kind of what it feels like. We're gonna be watching so many different logos before the game even starts. It's going to be like Microsoft, but with Warner Brothers and Take-Two, and it's just like, can I play the game?
Well, you just got to figure out how to go into the files and remove all those things.
Yeah. Maybe that
I've
is the game.
actually never done that. I've just been too lazy, but I've heard that some people like to do that.
I mean, yeah, that is the game. It's like and then it's like what Taco Bell employee simulator, and it's just a big advertisement for Taco Bell,
and then it rolls the credits, and you're like, I guess that was good. Like
it's the dystopian future of gaming. Yeah. Isn't just one giant pre-roll before the game starts.
Yeah.
Like, brought to you by Bethesda in association with Microsoft and in partnership with Nintendo. Like all these things pop up, and you never get the game.
They were doing that for a while with NBA 2K, where they would just throw in commercials before your game would start.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the rumor mill Pikmin have done good work. This is interesting stuff, but there is one more here, and I think that this one is really interesting because you are actually listed as one of the sources for this one, Cheezy. Splatoon 3 is rumored to have customizable apartments. Now, this comes from a tweet that Nintendo puts out, or that Nintendo put out, that said, don't use this paintbrush in your apartment. I don't even remember. I'm going to misquote the whole thing, but like, don't use it in your apartment. I had a roommate do that once and they lost their keys. And
What
apartments
does that have to do
just
with
have,
the paintbrush?
I think it was like security deposit, but you can lose your keys.
Yeah.
You don't get your keys anymore. You can't enter the property. I got it. I understood.
Security deposit makes more sense. I don't know where I got keys. But this was like to highlight a weapon that's going to be in the game, but just decided to throw in apartments, which is something that has been requested by the Splatoon community for a while. Cheese, you're more familiar with the history of this. I had not heard. I didn't know that people were clamoring for apartments. I didn't know people wanted that.
Yeah, this has been a long time. I would say ever since the first Splatoon and that title screen where it does show like an apartment and there's like, they have their gear on the bed. There's like a laptop over here on this desk. And so I think it's always been kind of like this fan idea to bring in apartments. And if I'm being honest, I don't really know what good it would do, but like I can see it
Yeah.
being fun. Like maybe there is a way that you bring your friends over and they can see what you're doing. Maybe it's like Mario Odyssey where you customize like the Odyssey, but you get to like organize it a certain way, or it's just like collectibles.
Wait a second. You can customize the Odyssey,
the inside
in
of
Mario
it.
Odyssey.
Yeah, like
inside.
you can buy stickers and statues.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do remember that now.
So,
I
yeah,
totally forgot about that. I'm like, wait a second. How
What?
did I not know about this?
How?
So
I remember the statues now.
yeah, everybody's wanting apartments in Splatoon 3. And it honestly makes sense if they were to add them because the team that makes Splatoon is the same team that made Animal Crossing. And they're great with customization, and bringing or like improving your living space. But again, I don't really know how that works with Splatoon. I guess maybe just with the world building itself, we get to see inside of, where they live, I guess. I don't know.
I like the idea you had of like it being like a hangout spot because there is that aspect of in the first and second game with the Splatfest where you get to hang out in the streets during Splatfest and talk to other people. Like that would be cool to have an apartment building and you could like set up a lobby with your friends and maybe that's like where you wait for matches. You're just hanging out in your apartments.
I think like
Something
the
like
other thing that it could be is instead of having menus for your gear and your weapon, it just takes you to the apartment. So it's more of switching from the closet, and then over here is where you have your gear, and then maybe you do get some like collectibles that you earn for Splatfest or something.
Yeah. Did you play Ninjala?
I did, yeah. Yeah, and that's
that's very much how they did it with their I mean, you are like the menu is the apartment, like
right.
You're in your own apartment that you get to adjust. But if you could customize that, that would be pretty cool. Just a little touch. I think that would add some personalization. That I mean, because Splatoon just oozes style. It's like this. This is just what cool people look like. This is what cool people look like.
Cool inklings look like.
Is what the fashion obsessed people of Splatoon are. Yeah, it's and like to be able to somehow have more customization with that, I think would be a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean they have a ton of customization right now, and it seems like even eyebrows people are noticing are different on Inklings and Octolings. So maybe that is something that you can also customize. The thing with the rumor of the apartments, though, is it seems like it was just kind of a funny little joke that the North American team mentioned, but the Japan tweet does not mention apartments at all. So that either means that, that North America just like threw in a word that they shouldn't have, or it's Nintendo and they completely know what they're doing. They're good at trolling. And they know how to get their name in the spotlight. I don't know. We'll
It
see.
kind of just seems like some kind of like throwaway joke thing.
It
Though,
does.
Yeah,
to me.
it does.
Yeah.
It definitely does. But it would be cool. It's fun to
I
speculate.
mean, it would be cool. Yeah, I mean, it'd be relatively fitting for like how much customization they do have and how much styling and whatnot you can do with your character. I think it would be cool, but I'd also spend very little time doing that.
Just like you did in Animal Crossing.
Yep.
Well, that speaking of spending very little time, let's get out of this segment. Let's talk the next segment of our show, which is community submitted questions and topics in the community corner. I'm so great with the segues. They feel less like here's a brick wall. Next segment, let's go. But we have some questions this week. Not as many as we typically do, but that's probably a good thing because we're running later than we usually do. We're just having a good time. 2 questions here. Actually, this one's more of a request from Parbrand. It says, pull up an image of an axolotl. Please do it. Do you guys know what an axolotl is? I don't actually know.
It's
I
like
don't actually
Whooper.
know.
Pretty sure Whooper's an axolotl.
Wait,
axolotl based.
Whooper looks like something actually.
I think so.
Yeah, this does look like a Whooper. Okay, I got to get it up on screen somehow. Boom. There you go. An axolotl. And just you, Micah, that you're the only one showing on screen because I switched scenes.
And most of you is in my head because I'm wearing a green shirt.
Yeah, you're like green screened. This is the quality content here. It looks like a fish lizard. It's cool. I like it. Thanks for showing that to me, Parbrand. That is a Pokemon. That's what chat's saying. That is a Pokemon. I don't think I've ever where do these live? Have you guys ever
water?
I've never seen one of these. Are these like a real thing you can go see? This is made up.
Thing you can go see.
This is made up. This is not real.
I mean, I don't know where they live. I don't think any live around where I do.
It's a type of salamander, and they are near extinction.
Oh, that's sad.
And they are looks like mainly in Mexico. So there you go. If you want to go see an axolotl, that is super interesting. Thanks for the topic, Parbrand. We'll move on to the next one here. This is a little bit more gaming related. From Presto the Magnificent asks, what do you want to see at the Summer Direct? What do you think we'll see?
Well, we haven't seen a Zelda game yet.
So you think we'll see a Zelda for like holiday time period?
I don't know. I mean, like we've had a Zelda game every year, and
yeah, but
Breath
it's
of the Wild
supposed to be Breath of the Wild, maybe,
right? But that got pushed back. Unless it didn't, and then I'm going to be really mad at Johnny Abo.
And they changed their mind and push it forward.
Yeah,
that'd be.
They just lied to everyone.
In chat, we have Zelda Oracle Remaster. I have seen a lot of requests for an Oracle or Oracle of Ages or Seasons done in Link's Awakening style. I don't know if they're going to do it though. That would have already had to have been like planned. I think if they're looking to pull something out of the back pocket to fill the slot that Breath of the Wild was supposed to fill, it's going to be Twilight Princess HD or Wind Waker HD. Right, like that's an easy.
Is it
move it?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm thinking
we
those
did
are
have that
actually never
news.
going to happen.
Yeah, we did have that news bit last week where we were talking about how the Skyward Sword motion controls were apparently took a long time to put in, but there's no motion controls, and I mean there is in Twilight Princess technically, but it was also a GameCube game, so it was that was just button mapped to a swing. I think that those are like just sitting on the shelf. Just if we have a gap, let's put this in there.
What is the gap though? Because that's got to
That's the
be
question. There isn't really a gap.
yeah, it's got to be like October or December.
Yeah. Yeah. And will they fill that with another Zelda? Because
I mean, Nintendo has said that they want a Zelda game every year. And so far, we have not had a Zelda game this year. And yeah, it probably was supposed to be Breath of the Wild 2, but I'm sure they had something else planned in the meantime. I just don't think that Nintendo's going to want to lose out on that Zelda money.
Yeah, that's true. But what if that's because they have Mario money instead? What if we're getting the next 3D Mario game?
What if we're getting Metroid Prime 4?
Whoa.
We're not.
Yeah, what do I want?
That's
The Summer Direct, Metroid Prime 4. What do I think we'll get? Not Metroid Prime 4, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I guess we'll take these questions one at a time here. So Cheezy, if you could get anything you want out of this Summer Direct, what would you like to see most?
Probably a new Donkey Kong game. It is so weird that Retro has not shown up on Switch other than Tropical Freeze, but that was on the Wii U. Like, Retro is completely missing, and I know that they're busy with Metroid Prime 4, but I mean, we're like 5 years into the Switch, so it would just be nice to see if Retro is working on anything else or if they are just busy with Metroid Prime 4, or if anybody else is working with the Donkey Kong assets.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that rumor a while ago that like internal they were making a new Donkey Kong game, but that never went anywhere. So maybe it will surface that game. Are you want a 2D or do you want 3D?
I think I want a 3D. I mean, that's kind of
go.
what we're seeing on Switch. As much as I love 2D games, Kirby was amazing.
Yeah, I'd be okay with like a Kirby Forgotten Lands
style
3D Donkey Kong game. But I also think a rehash at Donkey Kong 64. I know a lot of people kind of smack on that one, but I thought it was really fun. And I think with some tweaks, make it less collectathon-y and more exploration, I think it could be a very fun game. So doing something like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So Donkey Kong for Cheezy. Micah, Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, easy decision. Even if they're just like, we're still working on it and it's going well.
It's another.
I just want to know
title.
Something's happening.
Another logo. Yeah.
The longer it goes, the more I'm like, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to show a Metroid Prime 5 logo.
We're skipping 4 and going straight to 5.
Yeah.
I don't
and
even
we've
know
scrapped development and we're starting over. That would be pretty terrible. So for me, I think what I want is I would like the next 3D Mario, whether that's Mario Odyssey 2 or a new Mario game. What I want is true open world Mario. Like, I want Breath of the Wild, but with Mario. That's what I want. And then I would love, as a bonus, to see Zelda Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD come. I think that those are inevitable. I don't know why they would not port those, because they were on the Wii U, which just flopped, and so it's easy money. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. Like, they've ported everything else, and it's not like those ones are held back by like Nintendo Land problems where it's like, this is so reliant on the gamepad. They're not. They are not reliant on the gamepad almost at all. So just bringing those over should be pretty easy. So that's what I want. But what do we think we'll see? I think we will see. let's see. We have Splatoon coming in July, so I think
September.
we'll September. Yeah. Why did I think it was July? Because I flipped the dates. Because Xenoblade is now June. July.
Yeah.
Xenoblade is July. My goodness. Okay, so I think we'll see those games. They're gonna be like, hey, reminder, Xenoblade 3, and then we'll see probably a much bigger look at Splatoon 3. Like a deeper dive. They're gonna have the whole segment. They're gonna have, I can't remember his name. He'll get up and he'll pose with the 3 in the lab. The scientist will come on and do a spiel there. So I think we will see that. I do think there will be a new title announcement that they are planning for that October slot. I don't know if it's going to be as big of a game as we're all hoping.
You don't think Bayonetta 3?
Oh, I did forget Bayonetta 3, and that actually fits perfectly for October. That's like a very October-y game. All right, well, Cheezy, you got it. That's what I think will happen. Bayonetta 3 in the October time frame. We'll also probably see more on Pokemon, although they tend to like to do their own thing in their Pokemon Presents, but we'll probably see stuff on it. And I do think that there will be a game that is Nintendo first party that launches in the same time frame as the new Pokemon games. That's not going to be a solo holiday title. Pokemon never really is by itself. It sells crazy, so I don't know why they do this. Like, it seems weird, but they tend to release other games around the same time period as Pokemon. Like, they operate independently on schedules. At least from what I've seen.
That's because people are going to buy Pokemon anyways, so.
That's true.
So if that's the case, then maybe we will see a November release of like a new Mario or something along those lines. Maybe it's time for another 2D Mario game. That's what we'll get. What do you?
I feel like it's about time to hear about another Mario game. I mean, Odyssey came out like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good amount of time.
If it is a 2D Mario game, my dream is it for the 2D levels that were like in Odyssey and how they would wrap around walls or that was upside down. Like, give me a full game of that.
That would be cool. That'd be super cool. I think that it would be really cool for a full game to be in the style of the Mario 3D world in Mario Maker, where it's that like 3D, but it's 2D side scroller, and it has the 3D Mario mechanics like long jumping and backflips and stuff. I think that could be pretty cool.
And then throw in Cappy just for fun.
That would Cappy in a 2D game? That would be really fun. There's so much you could do there. I do like the 3D cube idea though, because that was so fun in Odyssey. It was like anytime those 2D segments were really fun. And then besides that, I'm trying to think, because the Switch has been the place to revive franchises. Like, let's bring it on here. It's going to get the Switch
Zero. Could it happen?
Punch Out.
Star Fox, maybe?
I mean, Star Fox isn't dead. It hasn't been that long.
It's been the Wii U.
Ice Climbers. I want an Ice Climbers game.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. There you
think
go.
I can
Now you guys are
some
best
of your past
friends.
Comments.
Yeah. Mike is the biggest Ice Climbers fan I know.
I've like never even. I've played like 7 minutes of Ice Climbers. So I don't know why I like
Fight
Ice Climbers
3D.
so much.
Balloon Fight 3D. You know what? There's some like smaller series that I think we could see make a comeback. Custom Robo would be a really cool one. They had a game on the DS and also a GameCube title, and both of those were really fun. I think that would translate well to Switch. And yeah, that's what I think we'll see. I think we will see a big new title that's going to be like a Nintendo first party something. It's like super vague, I know, but I do think Bayonetta for October. Cheezy is like nailed that one. Anything else, Cheezy? What do you think we'll see? Anything?
It's really interesting because I feel like we do know everything that's pretty much coming out this year. I mean, even Rabbids, I mean, that's got to be, I'm thinking August, but like we still don't know.
Keep
It
forgetting
almost
about that one.
seems, what was that?
Sorry, I keep forgetting about that one, even though I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't know anything.
We just haven't heard anything in a while.
I think a lot of it is going to be content updates. Like we probably will see something for Mario Party Superstars, more boards, more games, characters, maybe. Um, they'll probably talk about the expansion pack in some kind of way. I'm hoping that Switch Sports Resort is a thing. I think that would be awesome to get some of those sports back, and maybe Wahoo Island.
Are you
Um,
thinking a sequel or DLC?
just DLC. You know, the
Yeah.
same way that
Okay.
they did. What was it? Happy Home Paradise.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for that same thing. I don't think that's a weird, an unrealistic prediction. I think that makes a lot of sense.
But we know that they'll show some games that are coming out in 2023. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like they almost really don't need to have one. I want them to have one, but they don't need it.
Yeah, I agree. I think what we really need right now though is some firmed updates. There's so many things that just have the nebulous 2022, and Nintendo's been really digging the like drop a tweet. Here it is. It's coming this date. More than doing a direct presentation. Because you got to think with their E3 presentation, they're also going to have a treehouse that will show off something. So in this treehouse, it'll probably be Xenoblade and Splatoon, right? Like those are the ones that are coming up closest. So they'll show off some gameplay from those. Yeah, I do think we may see some Metroid Prime 4 stuff. It's about time, and it'll be coming like next year. It'll be dated for next year.
Will it be next year though? Or will it be about 3 years out?
I don't know why they like. I mean, Cheezy said it earlier. What is Retro doing? Like, they haven't been working on anything else, as far as we know.
I just need some sort of update to know it's still happening.
In chat, we have. I didn't even think about this one, but a revival of Golden Sun. Maybe it's time for that. That would be interesting. The only problem with that is I feel like we're loaded on turn-based RPG games for the coming year with Live Alive and Xenoblade. So I don't know. That would be a 2023, I think, if they did.
And I forgot about Advance Wars, but I think that's probably getting pushed back in 2023, unless like
who knows at this
December.
point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that is such a weird one because it's done. It's just that's on the shelf waiting to fill a slot where it will be culturally appropriate to do so.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's a hard one. Micah, you got any predictions on things that you think we will see?
I think y'all have hit on all of them.
All right,
and added a couple.
Yeah,
that I think have a pretty decent chance of happening.
I was gonna say maybe we'll see more on the Mario Bros. Movie, but that got pushed back, so no, probably not see any of that. So Miyamoto won't be there at all. He's only working on that movie now. I could we see more Breath of the Wild 2? First time in a while.
I don't see why not. I don't know. They said early 2022 or 2023.
They said summer, didn't they? Or
I don't know.
Am I wrong? Or maybe it was spring. It might have been spring.
It was spring.
Which starts actually like early June or something weird. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It started ends way more into what I thought summer was.
The thing with that, if I'm trying to remember like the release time frame for the first game, like when we got the first big trailer for Breath of the Wild, that was at an E3, was it not?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that was 2019,
and then it was 2019.
Because that was the
No.
same year as Banjo and Animal Crossing being announced for
No,
2020.
I'm sorry. I meant first Breath of the Wild, not the sequel.
Oh, sorry about that.
I was like, what? 2019? The Switch
Yeah,
had
yeah,
already
yeah.
been out. Because I feel like they first showed like a gameplay trailer for Breath of the Wild at the E3 prior to it launching on the Switch.
Or Game Awards?
Was it the Game Awards? I'm just like trying to connect it in my mind. Like, is it too early for them to show that gameplay trailer?
Because it seems like it might be a little early, but they won't have next summer because it will already be out by that point. So
Yeah, well, if it's not at this E3, it's going to be in like an October, November timeframe direct that they'll show, and that will be the big one to get you hyped for that. And that actually makes a lot of sense. It'll push for Black Friday holiday sales of the Switch because you'll be excited for Zelda. All those people that bought it on the Wii U and are holding out, they didn't buy a Switch because they're like, I already got my Zelda.
They're out there.
All 10 of them. Yeah.
And Mario Kart DLC is probably going to be announced.
Easy. That's it.
Yeah.
That's like for sure. There's going to be some Mario Kart tracks shown. Hopefully that answers your question, Presto. Not very exciting. We want what everybody wants, and we think what just about everybody thinks. This is coming. We're taking some easy bats here. But that is all the questions that we have in the community corner. So let's move to the last segment of our show, and let's go into the PAL topic. As I hit the actual sound button, here we go. Mike, I see you're highlighting a question I missed. So maybe we'll go back to do that question before we go into it. This is just kind of merge into the PAL topic a little bit. So professional. This is how it goes. So this isn't exactly a question, but Presto also asked, I want you guys to try and explain the Kirby lore with no help from chat. So I actually feel like I know a hefty amount of Kirby lore. So Micah, I'm going to turn this one over to you first. Could you explain the lore of Kirby with no help, no chat help, nobody out there help?
Kirby is actually chaos incarnate, and he comes from the Lovecraftian Cthulhu verse.
It's not far off. It really is pretty close.
And that's all I got.
Cheezy, do you know much about the lore behind? You're a big game lore guy. From
I would say that Kirby is a piece of gum that somebody blew into a bubble. No, I mean he's a god, and I don't understand him. He can start up a car and start up light bulbs, and how he's magic. No, I really don't know that much about the Kirby lore. I was just playing Forgotten Lands. Really enjoyed that game. I played some Kirby games before that game came out, but no, I couldn't tell you anything about the lore, really.
So I know brief bits here. I'm not going to explain it very technically savvy, but essentially Kirby comes from this Mike is not far off with it, like this big matter of stuff, and Kirby is kind of the incarnate of feelings of joy and happiness and goodness. But there is another piece of that breaks off and becomes a big evil eyeball monster, and that serves as some of the antagonist forms of that serve as antagonists at the end games. You know, every game that's worth playing ends with you taking down a godlike being. Right? Like that's I mean I feel like that's pretty standard in video games. You know, you defeat the evil king, and then it's like, oh, twist. Now you have to fight God. Like that. And Kirby is no different. So King DDD is working to he's like kind of a weird sometimes Kirby's friend, sometimes enemy. But most of the time he is being the enemy. He is secretly trying to keep the kingdom and world safe. And in one of those cases, I think he's holding the star rod and trying to keep it safe as Kirby tries to get it, and that unleashes a Cthulhu-like demon. So King DDD was not wrong in that case. I really haven't played enough of the games to really know all the ins and outs, but that seems to be what happens a lot. Is some cutesy character comes in and goes, "Kirby, help me! King DDD has stolen the magic mirror," and then Kirby comes and goes, "All right, let's just beat up every Waddle Dee." Meta Knight's like, "No, you stop. Don't do that." And then you fight Meta Knight, you beat up Meta Knight, you get to King DDD, you take out King DDD, and you get the magic mirror for the cutesy creature. And the cutesy creature goes, "You fool. I was the enemy the whole time." And then unleashes some monster demon thing that you have to banish back to the dark world. That's Kirby lore in a nutshell. But there is a connected universe, and there actually is. Like, the games don't seem like they have a connected storyline, but they do. And if you look into like the character portraits and read the cards of the different characters, you'll learn the connected history. And Kirby apparently takes place in like a post-apocalyptic like world. There are points where he goes to very human-like worlds that have no people on them. Forgotten Lands being one of those. It's like this weird abandoned city in a different dimension. I haven't finished it, so I don't really know how that all connects yet, but I'm excited to learn. Who'd have thought? Kirby has some deep lore.
I mean, even if you made it up, sounded good.
Yeah, it does. That's like super high level noob understanding, but that's basically what I've gotten. And that's why when Elfilin was first introduced, people were like, "Oh, that's a bad guy. Elfilin's going to be a bad guy," because Marx, Maglor ended up being just like absolutely, they trick Kirby into doing the dirty work. And that's like, you spend most of the game doing the thing, and then just kidding, I was the bad guy the whole time. So Elfilin fit the bill. I don't know if he actually turns out to be evil. No spoilers here. I don't know. But now we can move to the PAL topic, which is also going to deal with some lore, but lore that I really don't have a lot of info on. And we're going to be leaning into Cheezy here. Hopefully, he was like, "Oh, I studied beforehand." So hopefully we're not going to throw too many wild shots here at you. But we want to talk about upcoming Splatoon. There seems to be a lot of fan theories about the story. Now, brief synopsis. I know that Splatoon's lore goes a lot deeper than surface level. Very similar to Kirby. Like what you're doing, you're like, "Oh, playing games or painting and stuff." Nah. There's like, this is a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
That squids came on into, and there's like humans wiped out. They built AI that is evil, and I could you give us just like a quick synopsis? I don't know if that's even possible of like the Splatoon lore leading into Splatoon 3.
So basically, what Splatoon is about is 12,000 years ago, humans went extinct because of climate change, and oceans were rising. In the art book, they're in their 5th World War. So like, this is something that isn't really mentioned in the games. So it's always hard to, if that's canon or not, because it's like a manga series that's in the art book.
Yeah.
So they're humans are at war. They're tearing the planet apart, and because the oceans are rising, well, there weren't humans for 10,000 years. 2,000 years later, there's squids that are evolving into inklings and octos, evolving into octolings and octarians, and they are claiming the remaining dry land, and it becomes the Great Turf War because you have these two sides that are just trying to claim their side. Um, Most say that the Inklings won that war against the Octarians, and the Octarians have to go live in underground domes that are collapsing. And now the Octarians are going after the Zapfish, which powers basically all of Inkopolis, and I guess maybe now Splatsville. I don't know. We'll have to see. So, like, in a way, you look at these uh, Octarians and Octolings, like, they've always been looked at as the bad people, but maybe they were just trying to provide for their kind, and you get the lens of the Inklings being good.
Yeah, which you really get with the Octopass expansion. You kind of see
Yes.
like, oh,
Yep.
this is what it's like to be an Octoling in this world.
Yeah.
The lower class, literally, because they're living underground. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it covers a lot of heavy topics that you probably wouldn't expect for a Nintendo game. But if you like really dive deep into the lore, there's a lot that they are trying to tell you. So Splatoon, the developer Nogami, he has said that it is a reflection on our reality. So there's a lot of influence from 90s and 80s culture. The music is that way. The clothing, like Pearl and Marina, they look a lot like Tupac and Biggie. And so there's always a lot of influences, but with how our planet is today is not the best. So they are telling that story within a video game that is for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And leading into the third game is interesting because we have the return of the mammalians, which is
Yes.
like a point that they have highlighted pretty heavily is going to be what the story is based around. And the mammalians appear to be these furry creature things. And that's where there's a lot of theories coming about this. We're like, what does that mean? Are humans actually gone? Maybe they're going to come back, because the only traces left of human civilization we have Judd, who was cryogenically frozen.
Yes, and the only human that we really know about within Splatoon is the scientist or the professor. The professor.
Judd's owner.
Yes.
Prior to cryo freezing.
Yes.
Yep.
And he has serum that makes him immune. That at least is talked about in the art book. So again, you don't get that kind of information in the game, though maybe they'll talk about that in Splatoon 3, because it does seem to be really around Judd and Little Judd, who is a clone of Judd. And he doesn't seem good to me. So I think that's
I've seen a lot of people that are like, Lil Judd is evil. Maybe it's those Kirby guys. They're coming over and they're like, we don't trust cute little creatures anymore.
Yeah. There's a lot that points to Little Judd maybe not being so great in Splatoon 3. I mean, he's always rooting for the bad guys in Splatoon 2. And which is, you just have your sides, like there's the good guys, there's the bad guys, but he's always rooting for the bad guys. Nintendo has put out some like character info charts, I guess. And with Little Judd, it says like, how could you know what I want? I didn't even ask to be born. I'm just a clone of you. So it's
wow.
And in the art book, it actually says that Little Judd is just waiting to stab Judd in the back. He's waiting for his turn.
What?
Yeah.
Little Judd.
Little
Don't
Judd.
do this. Don't
Yeah.
do it, little Judd. You could be.
I mean, he's in his like teenage angsty years. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
So you said he has a serum that makes him immune to what?
Well, Judd is probably like 12,000 years old.
Immune
Because if you
aging.
think about like when humans were living, that was 12,000 years ago. And now we're in the mollusk era, which is 10,000 years from now. So, yeah.
Yeah. So he does not age. He's immortal, essentially. Judd.
Yes. Yeah.
So here's the first theory that we have here. I'm not familiar with this character, but
Okay.
because we're getting Return of the Mammalians, one theory out there is that Mr. Grizz
Yes.
will be a villain because Mr. Grizz is a mammalian, potentially.
I mean,
He's a grizzly bear, right?
that like racial profiling though? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to judge him just because he's also a mammal here.
Yeah, so I mean the thing is we don't know who Mr. Grizz is. Mr. Grizz works for Grizco, and they do the salmon runs. And so they hire inklings and octolings to go out and kill the salmonid. And you don't really know why. The only thing that we know is there was a kind of a "we want you" kind of ad, and doing this will build a brighter tomorrow. So we really don't know why we're doing it. And the only thing you see of Mr. Grizz really is like a wooden radio that is carved into a bear, and he's like holding a salmon in his mouth. So we don't actually know who Mr. Grizz is.
Not even a grizzly.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm kind of hoping for. I think the Splatoon team is more clever than that. And like even just leading up to Splatoon 2, if you look into the art books or like any of the guidebooks, they just say he's mysterious. They don't really say too much about him. So that should lead a lot into Splatoon 3. I think there's going to be multiple bad guys in Splatoon 3.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't heard that. So what are you? Who do you think the other bad guys will be? Do you think Mr. Grizz is a villain character?
I do. I think it could be possible that Little Judd is like running the whole thing as Mr. Grizz.
He is Mr. Grizz.
Maybe. I don't know. There's a DJ Octavio who is the bad guy in both Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2. So maybe he comes back. And with the final fest artwork, which was a Splatfest that they had at the end of Splatoon 2, was Chaos versus Order. Chaos won, but with all of those, they had special pieces of artwork. And one of them has Little Judd and DJ Octavio together. And it says something about like they are going to create a chaos of a firestorm, something like that. And they were on Team Chaos. Does that lead into anything, or was that just fun, like little promotional artwork? I don't know. There is also oh no, there's a character in Octo expansion, but that game just came out, so maybe it's good that I don't remember the name because
it's something AI, the robot.
Yes,
the goop robot.
Yeah. Commander Tartar.
Yes.
Yeah,
Commander Tartar. And there's definitely evidence to support that he didn't actually die in the Octo expansion, which, spoilers for those that haven't played it, you take out Captain Tartar. So then a couple other theories here. I hadn't heard of this either. Arc Polaris was a level, I guess, that you could play as in original Splatoon. And it's theorized that was like an actual arc for human survival during the floods. And that's what it was for. And they have teased the ruins of Arc Polaris, which sort of looks more like a landing station. So there are people out there theorizing that the Ark may be coming back in some form.
So
Yeah.
Arc Polaris was a salmon run stage in Splatoon 2. And all you see in the background, I mean, it's not like you're playing on it or anything. It's just in the background, is a shuttle that has just crashed. So those were the humans that were trying to get up to space. And I mean, it doesn't look like they made it. Looks like there was some kind of failure. And it does seem like maybe Splatoon 3 is taking us to space because there is a rocket ship that is shown in the trailer.
Yep.
Or
that the mammalians are coming from space.
It's possible, yeah.
Like something like that. Because this was another theory. This will be like the last one that I have scrounged up and found, but that the humans did go to space. You had the Arc Polaris, which was not successful, but there are other ships that were successful, and they are living somewhere in space. Maybe they continued human civilization on the moon or something like that. And or that humans sent mammal test subjects to space, and that is what becomes the mammalians. And that comes from a lot of like Russian text and things in the montages and teasers, which and it feels very centered around like the space race and that time period. There's like a lot of with the rocket and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know enough about the history of the space race or about Splatoon's lore to really like piece all those puzzle pieces together. But it seems like there's definitely some involvement in the story with space.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Which is just so bonkers to think about. Like, this is where Splatoon's going, huh? They're like, yep, space. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the team is so creative that I'm sure they have everything really thought out. It's like you don't really get a lot of this in the gameplay of Splatoon. It's really if you're just paying attention to what the characters may be saying. It's the scrolls that you collect along the way that will give you some backstory. Otherwise, it's just a fun, colorful shoot game. Like that's what it looks like.
Yeah, LPD in chat says I would love for Kirby, Pikmin, or Star Fox to cross over with Splatoon. Because all four could be post-human extinction type.
Yeah, Pikmin would be really cool. There's a theory going around right now. Procharo, who is a pretty big Splatoon player in the community, made a YouTube video that Splatoon 3 is more of a sequel to Splatoon 1, which makes a lot of sense because a lot of people weren't able to play Splatoon 1 since it came out on the Wii U or didn't have the opportunity to play it. And that's really where a lot of the lore starts. So if you were just picking up Splatoon 2 and you're not really familiar with the backstory of it, you kind of have to do your own research. So it could possibly be that they're trying to like catch people up on the lore plus a little more. It's not just going to be like a rehash of Splatoon 1. I've been meaning to make a TikTok on it though, because I do think that there's some kind of time travel that's happening, because the hero that we play as in the new story mode is new Agent 3. And Agent 3 was the character that we played as in the first game. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Agent 3 is in Splatoon 3, but is taking over Captain Cuttlefish's position. He's retired now, so it seems like Agent 3 is now the leader of the Squidbeak Splatoon army. But it doesn't make sense why they would want us to play as the new Agent 3. Why can't it be a different character? Because in Splatoon 2, you play as Agent 4. So there's something weird there where it's like it almost going back to that theory that Procharo was saying, it seems like they kind of want to bring you back to like the first story. Maybe we learn more about the war that the humans had and the actual flood. I don't know, but I'm really
the
excited.
only thing I can see wrong with that is the mammalians don't fit into that puzzle at all. Like they weren't present in the first game or mentioned, or were the mammalians mentioned?
Well, unless we go back further in time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So are they just going to be a stand-in for what the Octavians or
The Octarians?
Octarians, not Octavians. The Octarians were, and they're just like a new thing for that. Are they gonna Pokemon it? Like, oh, it's Team Rocket, and now it's Team came after Team Rocket. Just Team Rocket again, and then I guess it was Team Aqua and Team Magma were next. It's like, oh, now it's Team Aqua. Now it's Team and they all essentially serve the same purpose, but slightly different. And then you can play the same plot every time.
Yeah,
that's Pokemon. I could see them doing that though, like basically doing a retelling of Splatoon 1 so that you can get caught up on that lore. I don't know though.
I'm really excited for the story mode because after Octo expansion, it really feels like they hit gold with that and how they want their IP to grow. I mean, Splatoon makes a ton of money in Japan, so they know how important this new IP that came out 2015. I mean, it's still really new, and they know where they want it to go, how they want it to look. So the story mode, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to look really good.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, Micah, I don't know if you have anything you want to contribute towards the potential lore stuff in Splatoon 3. I know you're excited for the game. You and I are both planning on picking it up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know much. I mean, I had heard some theories that the Octarians won't actually be bad guys in this one, and they might help the Inklings to like stop the mammalian threat or whatnot. But who knows?
I'm hopeful.
A lot of them
that.
seem to be afflicted by that because it can be like spread through. It's some like ooze or something, isn't it?
Yes, I forget what it's called. It's some kind of goo, like colorful goo, that our little salmonid companion that will be tagging along with us can eat up, and it will like clear paths. So, and also eat the fuzzy Octarians. So, who knows? I mean, Splatoon is weird.
Yeah, unless they're just trying to power up the Octarians with this mammalian thing or whatnot, but
right.
Who knows?
Yeah, and it would make sense too because that would give you the ability to play as Octolings, which I think was a fan favorite addition to having them in the game. So that would be cool. I like that. I like that idea. Well, that about wraps up the show. So I guess before we head out of here, Cheezy, one more time, you want to give a plug for all your stuff? Where can people find you on the internet? And yeah, well, where do we send people?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. First off, you guys are great at this and really organized. I had a lot of fun.
That's the first time someone said that to us, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, you can find me.
Thanks for coming on.
Find me on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, CheezyC64, CheezyC64.
Nice. And I'll give a second plug here. I definitely recommend checking out his TikTok if you haven't already. You're streaming over there as well, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm doing TikTok Tuesdays, so 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. If you're interested, I'm probably playing Splatoon, but whatever the community wants over there, it is wild compared to Twitch. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're also on Twitch. and on Twitter. So yeah, check them out on all the platforms, everybody. They're all great. If you want to find us on the interwebs, you can find Nintendo Pals by searching Nintendo Pals on any platform. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. I was like, what platform am I missing? Discord. Join up our community Discord. Links to all of that stuff will be in the description. And yeah, you just go out and Google search Nintendo Pals. You'll find us. We are super excited to be hitting our 2-year anniversary here in just a couple days. So we'll have a bonus episode coming as part of that. But this one was this is more our regular scheduled programming. So yeah, tune back in for that. We'll be going live Sunday the 29th for the special extra stream, or extra podcast. And don't forget that we're doing a giveaway. If you haven't already, give us a sub on YouTube and follow us on Twitch, and then post, tag a friend, hashtag Nintendo Pals B-Day. And with that, Micah, you know what? I am forgetting something. I was about to ask you, am I forgetting anything? I want to give a shout out and thanks to our buddy Roger Pollard for the intro and outro music used in each and every episode of the Nintendo Pals podcast. If you want to check out more of his stuff, check out his website, rogerpollard.com, and links to that will be in the description. Fantastic stuff. He's always looking for commissions, so check it out. And with that, we'll turn it over to Cheezy for a closing remark.
We need a new Ice Climbers game. It's going to happen.
Then we'll talk to you all next episode.